Alright, hey YouTube, my name is Jupiter James, where I do what I want, when I want, and today I want to do astrology. So I've been going through my through the houses series, signs through the houses series, and today we are going to be talking about and going through the 7th house, which is one of my favorite houses. The 7th house carries the theme and the energy of your contracts, your business partnerships, your friendships, how you interact with the world, and how the world interacts with you. This is more of a how the world interacts with you and what you attract without you really having control over it. So let's get into it. So we're gonna start with Aries in the 7th house. So if you have Aries in the descending line or the 7th house, this is gonna mean that you are an Aries descendant. So without your conscious effort, without you having any play or part in this, or it's very subtle. It's like this is the you are the cause, this is the effect energy, if that makes sense. So this is what is dished out towards you and what you find yourself in circumstances and things of when you are in interpersonal relationships with business, business partnerships, friendships, love. This also will be the house and the theme of the energy of the partner you attract in your life. They will carry this big energy of whatever the sign is in that house. Also, this is going to be like your shadow side. So your shadow side, again, is something that is not very, you aren't outwardly reflecting this or outwardly sending this signal consciously, but it is what you attract because it is your opposite. This is a dual system. This is a duality that we live in. And so everything needs a counterbalance in order for it to be 3D, right? So this is just what you attract without you trying. And also it gets you into situations that you aren't consciously trying to get yourself into or attract the type of people, but this is the dynamic that happens when you attract. So I hope I made that clear. So your 7th house in Aries is going to be, so my mom is a 7th house in Aries, and this is going to mean that you are a Libra ascendant, or it may be cuspy, you may have cusp, but we're not talking about that. We're going to talk about if in whole sign charts you have Aries taking up your 7th house. With Aries in the 7th house, this is going to mean that you are someone who attracts a lot of fiery individuals towards you. You probably attract individuals who are in their own way very competitive with you. They are probably very warlike or aggressive with you or towards you. So you probably go for someone who is very athletic or very confident, very independent. Also strive to have that within your business partnerships as well. You may be in the fitness industry, or just you find yourself being in relationships that either it's like very passionate, very quick, very steamy, very hot, very warlike, very aggressive, very competitive, and it probably fizzles out very quickly. Like if you kind of have no control over it. Like it depending on what planets will be in the 7th house will kind of magnify this or lessen this, but more times than not, the relationships happen very quickly, and sometimes people are here for literally a moment, some are here forever, or this is the hope that you have, but more times than not, it's very quick, steamy, hot, competitive, warlike individuals and relationships that you attract. And yeah, this is so someone that you would like want to attract, or the people that you usually go for, would be like someone who is very independent, someone who's very forthright, very aggressive. You like very independent, aggressive individuals who don't mind being looked at in a bad light. Like you like probably like the bad boy, or like the bad girl, or the girl who's like seen as a bitch, or the guy who's seen as like an asshole. Like that type of energy of just confidence and just like, here I am, fuck the world. You like those individuals because it's hard for you, being maybe a Libra ascendant, it is hard for you to stand on your own, and it is hard for you to exude that energy. So you admire that. We all admire the thing that we are working on in this life, if that makes sense. We admire that. We see a little bit of ourselves in that. Like when a Libra sees that, they're like, wow, not only do I want to tame that and make that right because I'm a Libra and I want to harmonize everything. I want to take that bad boy and make him good. Like, that's your Libra starts to go haywire. But you want to see, as a Libra ascendant, how you can join, right? Join with someone who is the opposite, who they don't want to merge. They don't want to have anyone affiliated with them because they're so independent. They're winning, they're warlike. Like, so that's Aries in the 7th house. You'll usually attract partnerships that are like that, business partnerships that are like that, relationships, guys, girls, whatever your flavor. These are the types of energy that this person will carry. They will carry very Aries-like relationships, and so will your business partnerships. Moving on to Taurus. Taurus in the 7th house is going to mean that you are a person who goes after someone who's very grounded, very beautiful, in a very tangible, grounded way. So like, you love probably people who are very good with money. You like very luxurious people, in a sense that, like, and it may not manifest always like you like luxurious people, but you could like someone who is very stable. You like very stable friendships. You like very stable people because you yourself are not that way. It's very hard for you to gain stability or be stable or ground yourself, so you need someone to help you be grounded. If you are a Taurus descending, this means that you are a Scorpio ascendant, meaning that you are someone who you're very deep in the way that you relate with people, or the way you step on the scene, or when you are in a relation with people, you are someone who you relate with them from a distance, and the more they are able to prove to you that they are worthy of your relation, then once they build trust with you, right? Then you merge, right? And Taurus is the perfect person for that, because Taurus is the same way. Taurus is someone who, they don't mind breaking down the tangible walls that a Scorpio may have, a Scorpio-like individual may have. Like, a Scorpio needs to see the evidence in the real world to come to the conclusion that, oh, this person is safe, this person is stable, they're not going to betray me, they're not going to leave me, they're not going to harm me. So you attract individuals who don't mind taking the time that it takes for a Scorpio to come around to trusting. And so you will always, you search for businesses that are like that. You want business partnerships like that. You like friends that are like that. And you more specifically probably attract a lot of individuals who are either a Taurus or carry Taurus-like energy. Someone who is very slow, grounded, and you being a deep water introspective sign, they move so slow and they take their time and they do things so tangibly evident to you that it satisfies your scorpionic ways of like, what are they doing? You'll know what a Taurus is doing. Oh, they're gardening. They are wanting to take you on a date. They want to show you, like, it brings you up from the depths of that scorpionic energy of being very insular and like silent and to yourself. So because Taurus is gonna ground you. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so yeah, love that for you. Gemini being your descendant, this is going to mean that you are a Sagittarius ascendant, meaning that you are going to attract individuals who can get down with your flighty ways. If you're a Sagittarius ascendant, you love freedom, and so does Gemini. Gemini is air. Air is someone who also can... Gemini loves freedom as well, and so does Sagittarius. And so when two free birds find each other, they can just fly in the air together, you know, like literally though. Like, that's what Sagittarius wants. Sagittarius is always on a plane, always doing something. So when you have Gemini ruling your 7th house, you are going to value individuals who give you a sense of freedom and who also communicate with you as well. Like, just because they are free, they communicate with you. They value communication. They value letting you know how they think. And then they also value a sense of independence as well. Like, yes, they want to be with you, but they want to be free while they do it. And while they're doing it, they'll call you like, hey, I'm free, I'm out, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And like they'll communicate with you about it. And you being a Sagittarius ascendant more times than not, you are going to resonate with that energy because you are someone who values truth and honesty. And you also value people who don't want to tie you down because you are a very freedom loving sign to begin with. And so is Gemini. And I'd imagine that you being a Gemini ascendant person with a Sagittarius ascendant, you value speaking about philosophy. And so this is why when you do attract very Gemini mercurial people, they can satisfy your mental craving of knowledge and expression and like talking about philosophical things and intellect and like you love that stuff. So you're gonna always attract businesses, jobs, friends that are very chatty. It requires you to kind of chat and express yourself as well, and you will attract people like that as well. And this is like a shadow trait to you as well. So moving on to Cancer. Cancer in the descendant is going to mean that you are a Capricorn ascendant, or you have it a little cuspy, but we're talking about whole signs. So with this being said, you are going to be someone who you're a little bit of a rigid person, and rigid in the way that you are very structured. You've had to be structured. And you being someone who is ruled by Saturn, you're going to search for, whether consciously or unconsciously, more times than not, it's going to be unconscious, that you are going to attract, and the universe is going to send people your way who is going to make it okay for you to be emotionally vulnerable. Because in your life, being ruled by Saturn in your first house, Saturn has taught you a lot. Saturn is kind of, I don't want to say beat you down, but he's kind of made you be very structured, very unemotional, very head down, work first, goals oriented. You know, you don't mind doing what needs to be done in order to get the top spot or to achieve the goals that are in your life. So I can imagine when you are done out there conquering the world, the what you need when you come home is just to lay your head on someone's shoulder, right? Like, and Cancer, you're gonna attract a lot of people who are like that, who kind of don't really, they're gonna help support you as you are conquering. They're gonna be someone who, like, when you come home, they're gonna be there cooking the meals, and they're gonna be the one who is emotionally tending to you so that the next day you can get out and do it again. And that may be hard for you, being with Saturn in the Saturn in the first house, or a Capricorn ascending, because again, Capricorn is known to be unemotional, but I think that's just because they don't have the time. They don't have the time, and they know that if they are too emotional, the goal won't get done. So they would rather have someone else tend to that need. But you will also attract, whether consciously or unconsciously, again, more times unconsciously, you find yourself in business partnerships that feel like home to you, that are nurturing to you, or make you show up as a nurturing individual, where you have to take care of something, or where you have to build something or make something successful, and you attract people to you that are, I bet you get the curse of always having, I don't want to say curse, but for you being a Saturn in the first house, you're probably someone who, when you do attract people, you're just like, why do I always attract these like people who just want to like look into my eyes and like cry with me? Like, why? Like, what is that about? Like, I don't have time for this. Like, but you secretly love it, and you secretly need it, and you value it. You just don't want to admit it. And it's because you're ruled by Saturn, and it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. But yeah, this person will probably be ruled by the moon, or they will be a Cancer-like individual, or have very healing energy. You attract people who have very healing energy, and your friends are that way as well. Your jobs are like that, your contracts are like that. You need to have a sense of like, this feels right, this feels home to me, in order for you to lock down a union. Feel that way, right? You need to feel like this is home. Who better to induce that feeling on you than someone who is ruled by the moon. Feelings. There it is. All right, so that was Cancer in the 7th house. All right, so Leo in the 7th house, one of my favorite placements. This means that you are going to find yourself in business partnerships, jobs, organizations, and you're gonna have friends and partners who are very Leo-like, who have their own shine, who have their own thing going. So this is the placement of like you attracting celebrities, or like you probably have friends who have a lot of followers on the internet or have some type of fame around them or spotlight on them, and you attract people like that to you as well, or you go for people like that. Like you don't mind being someone. And so this would mean also that you have Aquarius in your 1st house as your ascendant sign. So with Aquarius being in the 7th house, you already see yourself as someone who is very unique, very progressive, very avant-garde in a way. You are an individual in your own right, but you don't really care for the spotlight. You're someone who is like, people will come in, they're like, oh my God, I love your outfit, I love your clothes, and you're just like too cool for school. You're like, I wish that like someone would come to me and talk to me about my ideas rather than my clothes. Like that's you. Even though you know you got a great style. So who better than a Leo, right, who has their own spotlight, who can come to you and be like, hey, like I'm that way too. So like, what else is new? Let's talk about something else. I've got my own spotlight. Like you look great, but anyway, like that's what you want. You want someone who is kind of on par with you, and who doesn't really kind of kiss your ass. And that is gonna be Leo. Leo is gonna want you to kiss their ass, and that's very humbling for you, because you, as an Aquarius ascendant, you feel you're on par with that, and you are. Like, and you probably in a subtle way want to assist that. You don't mind being like the gust under Leo's wings, with Leo being the 7th house. But you're gonna find yourself in jobs and partnerships where you have to present yourself and you can't hide. You have to kind of be out in the forefront, and you are also going to, as much as you don't like it, you're gonna have to be, and you're gonna find that you're gonna have to be very expressive in your relationships. You can't take the back seat and let things ride, or be too cool for school and just say it doesn't matter or it doesn't faze me, because the person that you are interested in is gonna force you to be open and be honest and expressive out loud with how you feel. Whether consciously or unconsciously, whether they are doing it or the situation will present itself where you have to be open, if that makes sense. Like Aquarius is very insular, and they'd rather like be in a lab tinkering or in a book writing, or like Aquarius is very they really pick and choose when they want to be bold and expressive. So you're gonna find yourself in situations where you have to be, though. Like the universe is gonna force you to say, hey, I like you, hey, like. And as a Leo, they need that. And unless you tell a Leo, like, you're the one, I love you, you all I want, you all I see, a Leo is not gonna give you the time of day, because they need the shine in order to feel what the feels are. So yeah, you're gonna attract people who are very famous, very just out there and awesome, and just have it going on, What a lucky, cool placement, Okay, so Virgo in the 7th house means you're going to be a Pisces ascendant. And a Pisces ascendant means that you are going to be someone who finds themselves in situations and partnerships with the world and the public. And when you interact, people are always going to see you as someone who is very dreamy-like and not grounded, right? So with Virgo in the 7th house, though, you are going to attract individuals to you who always want to plan out your day. They're going to want to help you out and say, hey, like, can I help plan out your day? Or come with me, like, I can show you something better. Like, oh my God, you do that? Let me show you how to do this. And you being a Pisces ascendant, more times than not, you find yourself in situations where your day-to-day schedules and routines are very hard for you. Like, it's very like you would rather dive into some spiritual book or a sermon on TV, or get lost, smoke weed, like whatever, but that the person that is a perfect match for you, or the people that you tend to go after are very put together. You have very put together friends. You have very put together relationships. You strive for perfection in your relationships. And isn't it so ironic that now that I think of it, I'm getting a download. Pisces is so fantasy driven that it would kind of take someone on the planet to fit up to the perfect idea of what they deem worthy of perfection, right? And Virgo being literally the person, the energy of like perfection or striving for perfection, when that Pisces is in dreamland and they see this perfect individual actually being perfect, it's like it fits the fantasy. It's like the fantasy meets the reality, and like that's why the merge happens. And so with Pisces being in your ascendant and Virgo being in your 7th house, this is the dynamic that will play out. You will seek out relationships, jobs, and people to you and for you that balance you out in the way that it needs to be perfect. You strive for perfection. You probably have you're probably very critical with your friends. You're probably very critical about like the relationships you have. You don't mess around. Like if someone isn't put together in your eyes or lives up to that ideal expression of perfection in your eyes, you don't make union. Pisces in the 1st house. Or for the sake of this video, I can't talk about the 7th house without talking about the 1st house, because they play on each other. So it would be remiss of me to talk about Virgo in the 7th house and not talk about why these things play out, if that makes sense. Like, because I don't want they're one and the same. They're two sides of the same coin, and it's like I can't talk about a quarter and just talk about the front side. They're one and the same, and this is why you attract what you attract, if that makes sense. So I don't want anyone in the comments being like, oh, is this an ascendant video? No, but this is an angular house. So when we talk about angles, we have to talk about the shadow traits. We can't just talk about 7th house energy without talking about the 1st house energy of the self and why it's attracting what it's attracting. And this gives you better knowledge to understand why you, the ascendant, are attracting what you're attracting, because there are certain signs out there who I'm sure you probably get a lot of toxic people in your life, and you're like, wait, like, why am I attracting the same individual just with a different name? And this is why. It's because you will always attract Virgo-like energies. You will attract the same type of individual because those individuals are showing you a trait, an energy, a modality of your soul that you have not yet figured out, and they are supposed to be the guide for that, you know, like that's why they say like opposites attract, and this is very true in this sense. Opposites do attract, and it is how the soul gets through life, is that it has to find its counterpart in order to merge. And when they merge, it's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, right? Like it's like when the soul finds its counterpart, then they both become this unstoppable power couple duo that can then ascend and move through life quicker, faster, and more successfully. That is literally the deal. It's like we all will find our perfect match so that we can continue on this ride and progress within our lives a little bit more efficiently and learn the lessons that we need to learn so that for our next life we are familiar with the energy that your partner is gonna teach you. They're gonna teach you. They're gonna grow you. Your 7th house individual is literally there to grow you and challenge you and show you what you're missing. That way you become more of a whole adept soul. So that's literally Virgo. What I just described is literally what Virgo in the 7th house wants to do for you. Okay? So there you go. Libra in the 7th house is going to mean that you are an Aries rising, and this is going to mean that you being an Aries rising, you see yourself as someone who is a very individualistic person. You don't mind being very independent. You probably love to take yourself out on dates, right? Like you do not mind being alone. Like you're probably someone who you find yourself having to smooth over relationships a lot because the way you come off can be too harsh or too brash or too strong. And whether you are conscious of it or not, you are a very domineering individual. You are a very strong individual, and on your way to do what you do, you break a few eggs without knowing it. And so more times than not, you find yourself having to smooth things over, because with Libra in the 7th house, in order for you to attract, or in order for successful relationships to happen, you're gonna have to kind of like, which is hard for you, you're gonna have to kind of compromise. You're gonna have to like kind of, not, I don't want to say settle, but it's that energy for you. You're gonna feel like, why is it that every time I have to interact with someone, I gotta kind of meet them where they are? Like when your mind, you're just like, they should meet me where I'm at. Like what gives? Like what is that about? You also probably attract a lot of people with Libra in the 7th house. You attract a lot of people who are very beautiful. You probably have very beautiful friends. You probably have very beautiful, very successful contracts and relationships. You are probably someone who will get into a marriage very quickly, because with 7th house energy, this is Libra. Libra is at home here because Libra rules this house. And so for you, you probably have a lot of friends. You probably have a lot of people who want to be around you, but for you, you're just like, ugh, like, sure, I'll do it for a moment. Like you probably find yourself interacting with a lot of people. And that's because Libra means Libra in the 7th house means you're gonna build very successful relationships. Like you're, more times than not. It depends, it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss. It's a balance. It's a balance with Libra in the 7th house. Like it's, some days you're good with relationships, some days you're just like, but you're gonna, for your mates, whether guy or girl, they're gonna be very beautiful. They're gonna carry very Venusian energy. They're gonna be someone who comes on the scene and probably wants to try to smooth things over for you. They're gonna want to balance you out. They're gonna want to say, hey, you fiery individual, like why you gotta be so fiery? Like just chill out. Like they're very like that for you. They're not gonna take things too seriously because they're ruled by Venus, and they just want to love and have fun and be light and be easy. Whereas you're so caught up in like, I'm Aries, you know, like no, I want to battle like that. Like so yeah. My name is Jupiter James. If anyone needs a birth chart analysis, a love reading, a career reading, a destiny reading, anything at all, astro counseling, if you just need therapy, my link is below, and I would love to help you with that, whatever you got going on. That is my signs to the 7th house, and I will see y'all later. Have a good one.